Ayun. Mega love shoutout. Magandang gabi po sa ating naunang pumasok. The first winner. Sige, lapag lang po kayo. Mag-comment lang po kayo sa ating comment section para atin po mag-isip. Good evening, mega love shoutout po. Salamat po sa pagpunta sa ating LS. You can comment down below po sa ating comment section, and then you can drop your link para po mabigyan ko po kayo ng aking mga banana. Okay? Mga isipin sa flash kay na. Ayan. Nabuslot. Pasok na po kayo. Okay. Pwede po kayong mag-comment sa atin pong live chat para po ating mabisita po ang inyong bahay. Ayan. Okay. Salamat po sa pag-stay. Highly appreciated po. Ayan.
Okay na, Abe? Sige na, okay na. Okay na, Tati. Thank you na. Bye-bye. Ate, bilhin mo kasi mga ta. What's that? Ang salad. Okay. Kumain mo ulit kami. Abi, bye-bye. Bye-bye. Ter! Yan na, Ter! Nain ka kanina pa rin.
Ay, sorry. Ayan, Gmart, Mechanics TV, mega love shoutout. Salamat sa pagpunta. Merry Christmas. Jem, Merry Christmas. Sige, pasok lang po, pasok. Ayan, meron na po tayong 2 milyong nasa bahay ngayong gabi. Mega love shoutout. Mega love shoutout sa lahat. Ayan. Ayan. Ayan po, naglapag po ng bahay si Jimar. So, puntahan natin. Ayan, puntahan natin to. And Jem, meron ka ng ano meron ng ads ang ano mo po. Okay na?
Good day guys. So, isa naman panibagong araw sa ating lahat. So, ngayon po may
Say
isi-share
hi,
ako sa
ano?
inyo.
Say hi.
Hi!
Dito sa
What's your name? Hey, what's your name?
sa inyo. Yung dito.
That's your name.
Yung meron siyang kalampag kapag dadaan kahit maliit lang po na lubak is
Okay, tawag ka dyan.
malakas na po yung kanyang kalampag.
Okay, tawag ka.
So,
Abiga!
nung kinabukasan na po is tinistrike ulit namin at saka pinakinggan ko dito sa likod ng L-tray. Pinakinggan ko yung sasakyan at saka yung kapatid ko yung nagdadrive. Pinakinggan ko kung saan nanggagaling yung malakas na kalampag. So, ito po ipapakita ko sa inyo.
Sa inyo.
Takot?
So, yun guys. So, ayan po na-discoveryhan natin.
Takot na na, takot.
Yan yung na-discover ko. Ito pala po yung
Ito tayo,
malakas
ito
yung kalampag
Opo,
niya.
kanuwa siya ko kasi may
Dito po sa loob,
nakalakausan.
dito ko pinakinggan yung malakas na bay.
Siya ako ni Aquarandi. May Aquarandi ni Jayjay. Na?
So, ito na po natanggal ko na yung kanyang shackle
Jayjay.
doon sa muli. Bala, tanggal ko na po, ipapakita ko sa inyo yung
Ito na si Abby.
rubber po na nasira. So, ito po yung rubber na nasira. Ayan po. So, ang nag-cause po nito, kaya maingay po, ang nangyari is, bakal na siya. Ayan. Malakas na po yung kalampag niya. Ayan po. So, ito po ipapakita ko sa inyo yung position ng shackle at saka kung bakit siya nag-ingay ng ganun kalakas. Ayan po. So ito po ay sa lower. So ito yung nakakabit sa mulye, at saka ito naman yung sa upper. Kung saan, so ito naman yung nakakabit sa chassis niya po. Ayan. Ito po yung sa chassis, at saka ito naman yung sa mulye niya. Ayan po yung naging dahilan kung bakit makalampag. Ito po yung rubber bushing niya. Ayan. So ito po yung dahilan. Ayan. So ayan po. Winildingan ko na po. Binildapan ko kasi kinain na po ito ng bakal. Ayan, yung ng mulye. Kaya medyo maluwag na siya. Ayan po yung nangyayari sa kanya. Kung may maririnig po kayo na ganito, ganyan po yung kalampag. Ganyan yung tunog doon po sa mulye. At saka kapag nagdadrive kayo, siyempre hindi talaga may iwasan sa atin na ma-distract doon sa kalampag ng sasakyan. So, ayan, yung ginawa ko is, siyempre papalitan na natin. So, ito po ay bumili na ako sa auto supply. Ayan po, 8 pieces yung binili ko kasi sa sa isang mulye dito is 4 po. Ayan. 4. 2 dito, 2 sa lower, 2 sa upper. So 4. Tsaka doon sa kabila po is 4. So ayan po, bumili na ako ng bago. Ayan. Ito po yung bagong rubber bushing. Ayan. So gaganda naman po yung performance ng ating sasakyan. Kasi bago lahat na yung kanyang rubber. Ayan. So wala na tayong maririnig na bakal to bakal na kalampag. Ayan. Siyempre rubber na yan. Hindi na yan tutunog. Kapag hinipitan natin ito doon sa kanyang lalagyan is magpipitting na yan. Ayan. So magaganda na yung laro niya. So ayan guys, ikakabit ko na po.
So, ayan.
Ito na yung bago natin. So, ikakabit ko na po.
Hello. Ayan. Game playing sa mo, game playing.
Tsaka, ito naman
Hello,
yung sa
good evening,
upper.
good evening. Ayan. Hello, my friend. Good evening.
Ikakabit na natin yung kanyang shock
Vorg. Thank you for coming to my Alex tonight. Merry Christmas. Mag-love shoutout. Okay. My friend, you can connect to this link above. Right.
Po, ikakabit na natin
you
yung
can,
kanyang nuts
I will
at
give
saka
you
washer. So, huwag niyo po itong kakalimutan itong lock
jacket,
washer.
okay? So,
Ito po yung nagsisilbi
okay, my
para
friend, you have
ilak
your
yung
jacket.
nuts. Para kung sakaling tumatakbo kayo palagi, hindi ito kusang malalaglag. Kasi
Yes.
minsan, pag wala itong lock nuts, lock washer pala. So,
Na-broken?
kapag wala itong lock washer,
Okay.
kapag tumatakbo kayo sa lakas ng vibration,
So,
kusa itong nalalaglag, kusa itong bumubukas na yan.
Kuha akong charger, kakama.
So, importante po ito.
Opo.
Download this app today.
Meron ng harang meron ng harang gem yung ano mo. Meron ng harang. Dami ng harang oh.
Download the
Pwede na ko na yung charger?
Opo.
Pwede na.
Ay na. Tali, charge na.
Ako ngayon na kami.
Hello, nag shout out. Thank you for our 2 million in the house. Thank you for coming. And guys, excuse. Ayan.
Bang charger ka may ilan?
Pwede mga idols.
Amo na siya maano? Sa akin na.
Kaya efficiency ulit tayo na sasakyan na isusukri ko. Meron itong makina na 4G1. sasakyan na 90s. So, ang titibay dito ay mayroong
Lamigon ka dito.
So,
Lamigon ka.
wala itong mga sensor at kung ano man. Meron lang itong manual pump sa diesel papunta sa injection pump. So, ang dali nitong trabawin at saka hindi ito masyadong masilan kaysa
Ayan,
ngayong
patatapusin
mga
natin
latest
yung
na
ano na to, yung video ng German Mechanics.
yung oil filter niya. So, nandito yung oil filter ng Isuzu.
Punta mo sana si Abi.
Katabi lang ng exhaust
Tapos,
manifold.
Ayan,
Ayan po.
baka
Yan, tinatanggal ko na siya.
manggalaw din ng mga gamit. Si Abi. Oh, no. Don't touch. Hmm?
Gusto malaman yung number na oil filter.
What's your name? Pala, ikaw si Molo.
Okay, what's your name? Say
Jaden.
something to them. Jaden?
Jaden.
Are you Jaden?
Yeah.
Alright.
I
Jaden?
want Jaden.
What is your complete name?
Huh? What is it?
Jaden?
Jaden.
I-try natin ito magdamag para
Complete name mo?
Complete. I'm
Jaden
Jaden.
Mindinilla.
Ninining.
na kayo sa ating YouTube channel. Notification bell para lagi ang update sa
Yes nga.
Hello. Mega love shout out sa
Okay
ating
na.
2 milyong viewers ngayong gabi.
atin, guys.
So you can drop your link if ever baguhan po kayo. Yan. Walang.
Sukuman nga. Maganda.
Hayaan lang natin siya hanggang magdamag. Para talagang sure na walang
Sukuman yellow.
naiwan na oil. Okay, guys.
Ting, garahay na dito, Ting. Dito may tayo sa labas. Oo. Kasi dito ka mag-ano saan. Sige. Alright.
Ayan po yung bagong motor namin na Alpha 41.
Isuzu Camper 4BE1 Eagle Overhaul first start. Ayos ano? Overhaul pala to. Magkano naman ang bayad sa inyo dyan kapag overhaul? Buksan mo? Ganda ng tunog eh. Salamat sa pag-study. Salamat. Ayan. Alright. So, ayan. Na-play natin si Jimar. Pipin ko na lang ako si Jimar. Ayan, nakapin niya yata eh. Ayan, message pin. Ayan. Okay. Mega love shout out po sa inyong lahat. Ayan, maraming salamat sa ating 2 milyong viewers. Ayan. Okay. 2 milyong viewers. Not only viewers but facilitate nagpa-participate ngayong gabi. Okay. So, ayan. So, magandang gabi po. So, ayan guys, drop lang po kayo ng inyong link para mapuntahan po natin. So, ayan. Drop lang po kayo ng inyong link para mapuntahan po natin. So, kamusta na po guys ang inyong mga tawag dito, Christmas? Okay. Medyo sinipon ako guys, kaya ayan, medyo merong ubo. Nagsimula lang to nung nakaraang araw. Masakit sa tutulan, yung parang ganun. Makati dito. Sa awa ng Diyos, medyo naka-survive naman. Kaya medyo mahina yung boses ko kasi dahil nga medyo may problema yung natin. Na na na. Okay.
Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, próspero año y felicidad. Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, próspero año y felicidad. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, próspero año y felicidad. Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, próspero año y felicidad. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, próspero año y felicidad.
Buti nakarating ka, kundi wala tayong palabok. Gutom nga mo. Ate, napapita tuloy ako. Kaya pala bukas na ng isang box. Teka, isang slice lang kinain ko
Maraming salamat po sa patamsak. Yes, thank you.
Oo na, ako na kumain. Pero pwede ba? Tama na. Sasarap naman to basta may Pepsi.
Okay.
Teka, parang may kulang ka.
Dahil wala kayo, bibingka! Oh yeah!
Ayun naman pala.
Ayan.
Hello mga bata. Hirap pa tayo sa math tulad nitong times 9 times 8 at saka itong 8 times 7 para hindi po tayo mahirapan. Gamit ang daliri, tulad nitong aking nasa kamay ngayon, ang ating pong gagawin is dahil tens, magsisimula siya sa 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Dito sa kabila, ganun din. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. For example, 8 times 7, ang ating gagawin, 8. 6, 7, 8. Ito po yung 8. At saka, 7. 6, 7. Ito po. Yung natitira sa taas, dalawa na sa kabila. Sa kabila naman, 3. Ang ating gagawin is 2 times 3 equals 6. Dahil 6 yung nasa taas, yung sa ibaba naman tayo. Yung isa baba, dahil 10 siya, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. 56. 8 times 7 is
56.
56.
Okay.
Para
Mm.
hindi tsamba, dito tayo sa calculator. Hanap po tayo
Po?
sa calculator. Ito po yung calculator natin. Ito po yung
Ha?
8 times 7
Opo,
sige,
8
times 7 equals 56. Saka dito naman po tayo sa isa. 9 times 8. Ang ating gagawin, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 times 8. Sa kabila naman, 6, 7, 8. Yan po. Yung natitira sa taas, isa, sa kabila, 2. 1 times 2 equals 2. And then, sa kabila naman, dahil 10 yung nasa ibaba, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. 72. 9 times 8 is 72. Para walang duda, gamit tayo ng calculator ulit. Ito po. 9 times 8. 9 times 8 equals 72. Yan po. 9 times 8, 72.
Iniisip mo pala. Lahat ng hinahanap mo. Free shipping vouchers. Okay, so we have this awesome Tesla here, and it went 5 miles in 3 minutes. So the question is, how fast is this Tesla going? So we're going to put your math skills, at work here, and just kind of see, those of you out there can figure this out, right? So it's going to require some knowledge of some basic algebra, and you need to know, obviously, a formula that relates time, distance, and speed. And we're going to go through all of this in just 1 second. But first, I'm going to quickly introduce myself. My name is John. I'm the founder of Tablet Class Math. I'm also a middle and high school math teacher. And over many years, I've constructed what I like to believe is one of the best online math help programs there is. Of course, I'll let you be the judge of that. You can find a link to my math help program in the description of this video, but I offer full math courses. But if you're taking a math course, I can help you out as well. So in all my courses, I offer comprehensive lessons, and I show you how to solve the most common problems you're going to face in middle school math, high school math, and even basic college math. Literally solve thousands of problems. That's why it's taken me many, many years to build this program out, and I'm very proud of it because it's helped just thousands and thousands of students excel in mathematics. Now, if you are a math student, I must stress the importance of note-taking. Over decades of teaching math, my golden rule of math is those students who take the best math notes, have great math notes, almost always have great math grades. And the reverse is true. Those students who don't take math notes, they don't think it's important because they got their best friend who's an excellent note taker. They could be like, listen, I'm going to take your notes the night before the test, and then you won't have notes to study, but I'll have your notes, and then therefore, I'll be all set in this class. Or maybe they have like this crazy photographic memory. They just told themselves, I have this powerful mind that whatever I see, I remember, etc., etc. Listen, you don't want to be that person, okay? If you don't take notes, okay, you're going to end up paying a price. Just believe me on this one. So you definitely want to start improving on note taking. But in the meantime, you need something to study from. So I actually offer very detailed, comprehensive math notes. Those would include pre-algebra, algebra 1, geometry, algebra 2, and trigonometry. You can find the links to those notes in the description of this video as well. All right, so let's get into this problem about this Tesla. This is such a cool car. I'll tell you, if you ever get a chance to take a ride in a Tesla, maybe you own a Tesla, maybe your parents have a Tesla, whatever the case is, it's just such a cool experience. It's so quiet, and the acceleration is just like, wow. I don't have a Tesla. I actually have this big monster Ford Expedition. I like that kind of big old gas guzzler. I'm kind of a taller person, but this car really does kind of get me. I'm like, maybe one day I will, go for it and break down and join the Tesla club. But anyways, that's another topic. Let's figure out how fast this Tesla's going. So here's the problem again, right? So it traveled 5 miles in 3 minutes. How fast is this going? And we want to answer this, right? We're talking about speed. How fast is it going? Let's answer the question in miles per hour. Okay, so that's the kind of the specific question. How many miles per hour is this Tesla going if it traveled 5 miles in 3 minutes? Now, if you think you can answer this question, okay, I would suggest you pause the video and sketch out this the solution here real quick. But whatever you do, if you kind of want to play along with this problem, just make sure that you are certain in your approach. Okay. In other words, you're not just plugging in a bunch of numbers in a calculator and think like, oh, I think it's going this fast. Like, either you know how to approach this problem in certainty, or you're just kind of guessing. Okay. So let's get to the solution here. So we're going to need a formula. Okay. Because we got a couple different things going on here. We have miles, right? Like this Tesla's going so many miles. That's distance. And then we have some time, which is 3 minutes. Okay. And then we are looking for the rate, which is speed. Okay. So when you hear how fast is something going, kind of words that mean that is what's the rate, all right? Or the speed or velocity. These are all kinds of words. There's technical differences here too, like velocity. You can think of things as vectors, but I don't want to digress. But anyways, if I said the rate, speed, velocity, they're all kind of meaning, that's how fast something's going, right? Now, you need to know a formula, and here it is. All right, this is one you want to commit to your long-term memory because rate and distance problems are so common in mathematics. So the formula goes like this: rate times time equals distance. Okay, so rate times time equals distance. You can write this way: rate times time is equal to distance. And let's just review here real quick. The formula specifically, though, as it relates to units of measure, all right? Units of measure. Okay, this is very, very important. So we have to have the proper units of measure if we're going to make this formula work. So if I want my answer by speed in miles per hour, let's take a look at my time and distance. So my distance is in miles. Okay. All right. So if you look here, my rate, I want my speed in miles per. Right. So miles is going to be my distance. All right. So in other words, I'm going to measure distance in miles, not feet, for example, or inches. Okay. And my time here has to be in hours, miles per hour, miles per hour. Also, you can think of it this way, miles per hour. So this is technically a rate when we're talking about rate, ratios, and proportions. And if you haven't learned about rates and ratios and proportions, I have plenty of videos on that in my pre-algebra playlist. Okay, so
Miss Katinga?
3 in 1?
Hindi, yung puro. Ito ka na sa Nescafe Classic.
So, anyways, so let's just kind of, I don't want to digress too much, but we really need to understand this. When we're working with any formula, you got to make sure you have the correct units of measure. So I want my answer, my speed to be in miles per hour. So I'm looking at my distance here. My distance is in miles, but my time, okay, the time that I'm given is in minutes, right? I need that to be in hours. So I'm going to have to do some work here. But again, what am I trying to solve for? I want to know how fast this thing is going. I'm looking to solve for the rate. Okay, so I have this basic formula, rate times time equals distance. Well, to solve for R, which is the rate, I have to divide both sides of the equation by t. So rate times time equals distance. I want to solve for the rate here. So I have to divide both sides of the equation by t. So rate, the rate is going to be equal to the distance divided by the time. And my distance needs to be in miles, okay? And my time needs to be in hours. And if I have that, my rate will be in miles per hour. Okay, so hopefully all this is kind of set up the structure, everything that you need to know to solve this problem. So if you think now, you're like, oh, okay, I can solve it at any time.
Hello.
You can, take the problem from here. I would suggest pause the video, go ahead and knock it out real quick.
Thank you.
Just to kind of test where you're at with your current math skills. But let's continue on. But before we do so, we just got to take a look.
Okay,
Hello mga bata.
favorite song.
Lovely, kanina pasok din si Arlen. Sana kapin, the boy wonders.
Okay, sige. Try na.
Hindi lang kinaganap ako tickets na kapin. Kapin mga lang ganang kapin.
Fashion is a kind of fantasy. It's an imaginary world created for the image using clothes, casting, and lighting. I'm Len and I'm a fashion photographer. Step into the world of fashion portraiture with me.
Hello, mega love shout out. Okay.
Masahin dan si Miller.
Mega love shout out. Ma'am Agnes. Magandang. Ayan. Pinaganda
One, two, three, go.
Merry Christmas.
Buti nakarating ka. Kundi wala tayong palabok. Kagutom na magbuhat eh. Napapitsa tuloy ako. Kaya pala po. Arlen dance yung mechanic. Ito lang si dance si Love Kita. Dance si Mami and Mami Cheo. Miller dance Arlen Nueva. Kapin ha, unahin na kapin. Nadikitan kita apat ng garlic. Yung Stevie official, may galap shoutout. May jacket na lang ga, welcome. Merry Christmas lang ga, yung okay lang ga, ito. Sa Pasko, hindi nakikisa. Ganun pa rin ang buhay, nag-iisa pa rin. Arlitan si Anika. Okay lang yan lang ga. Pasko pa rin. Sana yan si Agnes Agustin, bababae lang ga ang Agnes. Agnes Agustin, bababae lang ga. Kay Charity, US na si Agnes. Agnes tayo, Agnes.
Hello, Nyor. Hello, Nyor. Jimmer, Dan, dikit. Okay.
Sukli ka
Sige,
na lang, Agnes.
ako na magsusukli sa'yo, ano, Nyor? Okay, suklian. Suklian kita, Nyor. Yan. Alright. Bigyan kita nyo ng ano ng tanggal na banana. Kasi ano to eh, giveaways. Magandang shoutout po. Ayan. Gusto yung bakal mo. Tapusin ko lang itong ano mo, yung video mo tapos. Playing your hand, playing.
So I've been hearing, Mike, when are you going to get to the antenna? You know, I've learned a lot about tubes and, I've learned a lot about low frequency operation, but the antenna is really the daunting part of this. It's time to work on that. So we're going to cover the antenna in this video. I want to introduce a instrument that I'm going to be using out at the antenna, because I don't want to drag a whole transmitter out there. I don't want to be running back and forth between the shack and the antenna doing SWR checks. And this is that swooper thing that I made for the loop antennas. This is not a new idea. Basically, you have a little generator or a QRP rig that operates at the low frequency, 630 meters, and you have a little bridge and a meter. This is kind of the idea. Let's look at this. basically you have a bridge, and when you have 50 ohms at all 4 places, it will read 0 or 1 to 1. And then as the impedance changes at this port, the SWR will go up. This could be any complex impedance. It could be resistive, capacitive, or inductive here. So that's the basic circuit. Now this guy in Germany came up with a very clever implementation of the circuit, DL2LUX, and there's been several people that have built little boxes like this. And, there's information on the internet on how to build them, but it's just a handy little thing to have when you don't want to be dragging around equipment. Now, of course, the guys that have the network analyzer and the handheld units are laughing at this, but this is a cute little unit that's not going to cost you much money, something you can build very easily on your own. So, again, we're going to handle the antenna in this section, and I think it's going to be exciting because I call it the Quickie Antenna because I made up my mind I was going to put up a 630 meter antenna one day, and I actually made contacts on it that night. So what's the hardest thing about any antenna project? Deciding you're going to do it and starting the project. Okay, as usual, I'm getting into a touchy subject, that of antennas. Here at the low frequencies, there's guys that have got 20 and 30 years of experience playing with LF and NF type systems. So this is just an introduction. So first of all, you're ready to assemble your 630 meter station, just as I was. And if you can't hear them, you can't work them. You might have heard that phrase from some old ham guy or Elmer. I think we've taken care of that end with our active loop, or maybe you have a beverage receiving setup. Let's assume you're now hearing 630 meter signals regularly at night, usually, 6, 7, 8, 9 p.m. at night. It's time to consider a transmitting antenna. Everyone's situation is different, but generally some form of top-loaded monopole or Marconi antenna is going to be your best choice. That doesn't matter what the size of your property is. The Marconi antenna is the go-to antenna. Yeah, I know about transmitting loops, but let's stick with the tried and true vertical for this discussion. A quarter wave vertical at 630 meters would be 160 meters or 525 feet high. We're limited to 60 meters here in the U.S. That's hardly the issue, since few of us have the wherewithal to erect a 197-foot tower. So all of these verticals are short, very short compared to a full quarter wave vertical like you might have on 20 meters or something. So, the well understood solution coming from the time of Marconi is to top load the antenna with something called a capacity hat. In other words, add lots of horizontal wire to the top in a T or a spoke pattern. This makes the antenna look much longer electrically, which lowers its resonant frequency. From the antenna books, we have learned that most of the radiation from the vertical occurs in the lower portion, closest to the feed point. Usually that's ground level up a few meters or so. So this top loading, as you can see, is interesting because if it is balanced, like a balanced top hat or a T, the currents cancel. That means there's no radiation off that top portion. All the radiation is in the vertical portion in a perfect T-type antenna. Another way to lower the working frequency is to load the antenna with a series inductance. This is normally located at the base of the antenna, but there's some advantages and efficiency in raising the loading coil to the center of the vertical or even closer to the top. Generally, capacitive top loading and inductive base loading are the preferred method at 630 and 2200 meters. Can center loading give any advantage? Theoretically, it can raise the current below the coil. That means more radiation, and lower the voltage at the feed. That's a good thing too. But the bother and mechanical considerations of a large center coil are reason enough that it's generally not used on 630 meters. You would use it on your mobile whip on 80 meters though. Down at the base, we have to establish a ground with minimal loss, since this represents the other half of our antenna. If ground losses are high, they will dominate the matching issue. Everything will look wonderful, but you won't be radiating much of a signal. You'll be melting snow instead. So this means lots of radials. Generally, many shorter radials are better than a few long ones. You're not going to approach a quarter wave at this frequency anyway, so many short radials is the answer. Then you need some way to zero out the capacitive reactance that you're matching. So you just get the real impedance of the antenna down below. So that's a combination of the antenna resistance and the ground resistance. This calls for a big inductance and a matching method to get the resulting real number to up or down to 50 ohms for our coax. So there will be some kind of matching doghouse, cooler, bucket, or something like that at the base of the antenna. All of this together means that efficiencies will range from a fraction of a percent to perhaps 10% for the average station. Now you can see the beauty of the effective radiated power rule. This allows you to make up for your poor efficiency with power and then reduce the power as your antenna efficiency improves over time. Here's what to concentrate on in descending importance. So what did I decide to do? Something very fast up and with not a lot of thought that might have to last more than this winter season. That's why I call it the Quickie Antenna. I had two trees separated by about 35 feet. They were about 70 feet high. Figured I could get the antenna up around the 65-foot level. This solves the first issue, height. The capacity you have would be a simple fan of 4 15-foot wires with end spreaders. I didn't dare make it any wider. I already had a pair of ropes at half height, so I decided to suspend a center loading coil off them. This would be 4 wires holding up the antenna instead of just 2. At the base, I put an old BC306 antenna tuning box made for the old BC375 and the bombers, and a toroid matching device made out of 3 massive number 43 cores. I had enough wire for 9 radials, actually 4 at first, my first night. These were between 25 and 130 feet long. I put in 1 small ground rod at the base, and with 2 magnificent casts with my bass rod, I pulled up the twine over those tall trees, and then the rope, and the whole thing went up in less than 4 hours. Thus, the Quickie Antenna.
Nescafe Original. May tapang ng dagdag na kape para sa tapang na di susuko.
So after chasing the tap winding with the untap winding, we have a pretty good multi-tap transformer. And I'm just counting, and it looks like there are indeed 3 huge number 43 cores that have been glued together and wrapped with high temperature tape. And that's just something surplus I found at a ham fest. Somebody probably made a ballon out of it or something. Something to handle full power, no doubt. But if this were type 77 material, I would expect you could use half the number of turns, because that's very high permeability stuff. But this, with 3 cores, this is going to have quite a bit of permeability, so it should work fine at this frequency. Now, if you're nervous about arc over, there isn't as much high voltage at this point in the gain, because you're at such low impedances. It's not until we get up to the coil, the top of the coil, that it starts to act like a Tesla coil. Now, I'm going to be installing this in my temporary variometer enclosure, and I'm going to be testing the whole system with a low power SWR type bridge system that I built for my loop antenna. Here's the little oscillator. So there's the dot there for the frequency that we're interested in. And this just runs on a wall board. And of course, the output goes into the little matchet sensor, little bridge. So here's my my setup. I have my SWR set up, my bridge. I have my matchbox, which is from World War II. This is the box that's used for the VC 375, 191, and probably with the ART-13 sometimes, that allows it to operate the trailing antenna as a long wire in the 500 kilohertz region. So I've got an artificial antenna attached here. Let's zoom in on that so we can see what we got. My artificial antenna consists of a 15 ohm carbon resistor and a 270 picofarad capacitor. So this is an antenna that's very capacitive and it has a low resistance. This might represent some kind of a Marconi antenna with a ground system. We would like to match that into 50 ohms. So with the combination of the variometer and our tapped coil, okay, multiple taps, we should be able to match that load. Let's go back to our meter, zoom out. Hopefully we can see the meter. This one. Up. Ooh. Okay, so the variometer, what position am I on? It's position 3, right in the middle. And the variometer is at 35, now 37 ohms, and a 270 puff. Let's look back at our meter. Just about a perfect match. So for 37 ohms, the coil is fine as is. I'm only down 4 turns. So as far as the real part goes, we're going to have no trouble, with higher K. I've got 470 picofarads, and our 37 ohms. Let's see if we can resonate that. It's not. Okay. Oh, I'm at the end. Let's try a different tap. Go down to the bottom. Wrong way, maybe. Oh, there we go. Nice. Okay, this is position 2. Around 60 on the variometer. So then we're matching that nicely. Try a couple other values, and this will be it. I've got 150 puff, or 150 ohm resistor, and a 220. Let's try that one. Okay, this is 150 ohms and a 220 puff. I'm back to position 3 again. Can't get a good match. So let's try a different tap. Getting better. See, this guy's going just the opposite. So on this one, we would want to actually add some turns onto the antenna side to match a higher impedance. So as you can see, the transformer is all important in this. It just depends on what impedance that you're up against with your antenna. If you need to match up, then obviously on the coax side, you want to be fewer turns, and on the antenna side, more turns. If you want to match down, it's just the opposite. So by using the tap transformer, you're not going to be going all over the place. Your antenna is only going to have one range of impedances that are fairly close together. But the idea is be prepared. You might have to adjust your transformer a little bit. It's another reason why I like auto transformers a little better, because they're simpler to wind and a little more flexible. So I think we've proven that we can match match quite a wide range of antenna impedances. With the antenna tuning unit, the old BC 306A, with the addition of a matching transformer on the coax side. And we've handled from basically 470 picofarads down to a little over 100. I've tested, and resistances as low as 22 ohms up to 150 ohms. So I'm sure it can match wider impedances than that, but I just basically wanted to bench test it. I'm pretty satisfied that whatever antenna I get up in the air for testing, this thing's going to be able to handle. Now, is this a permanent solution? No, it's more of a test instrument. Once I'm finished, you would replace the variometer with a high Q, high power coil. That's all my message is, even though this is a very nice variometer setup. Beautiful build. This wire is very light, and this was meant to match an antenna in an aircraft. It's not designed for high efficiency operation. So I wanted to kind of relieve the stress off the tuner box by putting a coil above it. Now this can be put just above the box, and of course that's going to help with the high voltage on top of the box. But I thought I would sneak it up the wire a little bit and maybe make it into kind of a center loading. And that's going to take some of the stress off the box and lower the voltage at these terminals. Will it do anything for the efficiency? Well, theoretically it will, but most people don't use a center loading system. They depend on top loading with capacitance with the 630 meter and the 2200 meter antennas. Anyway, this is about 65 turns on 2-inch PVC. It's almost exactly 100 microhenries. Okay, time to erect the antenna for 630 meters. This is the approximate location where I'm going to have the feed. I'll just have some radials laying on the ground. As we move up the wire, you can see that there is a loading coil. This loading coil is going to be suspended in the air probably 25 feet or so. So it's not really center loading, but certainly not top loading either. This is to take some of the stress off the coil at the bottom, more than it is to improve efficiency, but it is 100 microhenries. As we look up, I do not have the antenna completely up yet, but I have a modest fan dipole affair, it looks like. So as you can see, this fan is about 30 feet across. And that's going to represent top loading on this wire. Top loading on the wire. And now I have a 30-foot wire down to the coil. Next, let's pull this thing up and see where the coil lays. Wow. That thing is up there now. It must at least be up at 60 feet. Then we're down 30 feet to the loading coil. And then, boy, probably another 30 feet to the feed. So, is it a center loading coil? I guess it is. Because I've got a lot of wire up there now. So we have top loading and we have center loading. Let's see where this comes out once we bring our match in. Okay, we've got the measurement system out here. Everything is hooked up. The ground system is iffy. One little ground rod about 4 feet long. 4 radials. They're between 130 feet long, and I think the shortest one is about 65 feet long. So definitely a compromised ground system. And then, of course, we're going up. We've got an honest 80 feet of wire in the air, I think, if you add everything up. And I know we've got 60 feet of height at least. So let's see if this thing resonates. Got the forward maximized. Looks good. 1. Nothing happening. 2. Nothing on the variometer. 3. Oh, here we go. Wow. We're already very close to 1-to-1. It's 40. No, 70, 60. Let's try a different tap. Boy, this is going to work. Oh my, we're almost perfect now. Let's go one more. Okay, like that other tap. We have got it, my friends. Okay, it's not actually that different. It's 3 and 60. It's really not that different from some of my simulated loads I started with. Let's see what tap I'm on. So I'm the 5th down from the end. So definitely, it's definitely stepping up. This is the QSL card from the first contact that I made on 630 meters. In the next video, we fire it up, see how the antenna acts, and try to measure our power and our SWR.
Ipaglalaban ko na makapaghanap buhay ka. Ano man ang natapos mo o kahit may edad ka na, sa tapat na pamumuno, babalik ang tiwala ng investors at dadami ang hanap buhay. Ako si Lenny Robredo at ipaglalaban ko yan.
So these are my Federal headphones for crystal radios and early radios. Not only are they not in phase, but the amplitude is way down on one of the elements. So the audio analyzer is already telling me more than I want to know about my favorite headphones. So what is the highest source of distortion in any audio system? That's a question that's been around for a while, but I think we can point at the system that changes the complete mode of the energy the most as being the place where the distortion can be the highest. And what we find is that transformers tend to be low distortion because they're converting electrical energy back to electrical energy. But transducers, such as loudspeakers and headphones, they're converting electrical energy into motion, motion of the element that produces the sound waves that we hear. So there's a great opportunity for a high amount of distortion to occur with headphones. We found that the electret microphone was quite flat. An electrostatic device or a condenser mic, I think you find the same thing with some of these new electrostatic headphones. Certainly taking advantage with headphones today. We're going to find some really interesting shapes. You're not going to see these nice flat curves that you're used to seeing testing op amps and audio mixers and different equipment where you DC to daylight flat as a table, rolling stock, as we like to call it, flatness. We're not going to be seeing that. We're going to be seeing some really flavorful curves with these headphones. Stand by for part 2. We're going to be measuring headphones with our audio test system head. So it isn't just about the headphones. I'm going to be struggling to use some very interesting audio analysis packages that you can find on the internet. These are often called audio analyzers or sound card oscilloscopes, that kind of thing. So I've picked out 3. There's probably 10 or 15 of them. I've picked out 3 of the popular ones. we'll attempt to install those on the Windows XP machine that I'm using for testing. And we'll see which one works to allow us to do some simple measurements. And by simple measurements, I'm mostly interested in figuring out the drivers or the receivers, whatever you call them, if they're actually working and in phase, and if the drivers have approximately
Maya. Alright. Hello. Mega love shoutout. Ayan. So, balik. And merong pumasok. Ayan. Hello guys. Ayan. Your Bali, ang tawag dito? 812 ka pag mag-LS ka, kailangan mo talaga una, yung cellphone mo, kailangan na-hit mo yung 1,000 subscribe mo bago ka maka-LS gamit yung cellphone mo. Or else, gumamit ka ng laptop kahit na hindi mo pa naabot yung 1K na subscriber. Siguradong makakapag-LS ka. Basta laptop yung gamit. Kasi trinay ko yan before, gamit nitong cellphone ko. Hindi ako makapag-LS. Kasi hindi ko pa naabot yung yung 1K. But after ko na-hit ko na yung 1K, naabot ko na yung 1K, bali nakapag-LS ako gamit yung cellphone ko. But then, ngayon, ginagamit ko ay laptop. Gumagamit ako ng laptop para mas magandang gamitin kasi yung laptop. Tapos, yung cellphone, pang backup na lang. So, ayan. Salamat po, 1 million in the house. Yan. Alright. Okay. Pwede ka, StreamYard, bali lang, pag gumamit ka ng StreamYard, registered ka lang. Pwede yun, kahit na hindi po pa naabot yung 1K. Ayan bali natapos ko na yung napanood yung mo. Okay, so, ina na nga yung yung subscribe mo. Tingnan mo. Ayan, 238. Hindi na ako tawag dito. Bakas kanina. So, dadagdagan ko na lang to. Teka lang, dadagdagan ko. Bibigyan pa kita ng 238. Gawin natin 240. Ayan, teka lang. Gawin natin 242. Ayan. So, playing. Ayan. Medyo masakit yung tutulan ko kaya. Yan. Okay. Pwede, tawag dito. Pwede din yung gawin mo StreamYard. I-type mo lang ano ba? Research mo lang yung StreamYard, then register ka. Signal background. 39. Ayan, 239 ka na. Bigyan pa natin ng isa. Inuubo ako ah. Go 40. Hello sa ating bagong pasok. Okay. Ayan na. Alright. Yung opinion ko yung bahay mo. Okay. Anong oras ba tayo? Okay. 8:36. Born on Mega love shout out, my friend. How are you? All right, I will give you jacket so that you can. All right, so okay. Muffa, are you a Russian? Are you a Russian, my friend? Okay. Okay. Mhm. Ano? Okay, magto 2 hours na tayo ah. Saan kaya ito? Okay guys, I need na to para magpaalam. Ano? Kasi kailangang maagang matulog ngayong gabi. Para naman bukas ay maaga namang makagising para sa pag-attend ng worship. So, yun lang guys. Good night. Maraming salamat.